Yo, what's up everybody, and welcome to this breakdown of how to master app development. We're talking about a full roadmap here, from the first line of code you write all the way to launching your app in the App Store. Let's get into it. First things first, you gotta learn how to talk to computers. That's where programming languages come in. We're talking Java, Swift, JavaScript. These are the building blocks of your app. Think of it like learning the grammar and vocabulary of a new language. Except this language lets you tell your phone what to do. Don't worry about trying to memorize everything at once. Start with the basics: syntax, variables, loops, functions. There are tons of resources out there like Code Academy and Coursera that make learning fun and interactive. And the key to really locking it in is practice. Build something, anything. A simple calculator app, a to-do list. Every line of code you write gets you one step closer to fluency. One book I highly recommend is JavaScript: The Good Parts. But the best resource of all? Just building, making mistakes, and figuring it out as you go. All right, let's move on to the next level. Now that you know the language, it's time to talk about structure. Building an app is like building a house. You need a blueprint, a solid foundation. That's where app architecture comes in. We're diving into the different layers of an app: the front end, the back end, the database. Understanding how these pieces fit together is crucial for building apps that are not only functional, but also scalable and maintainable. One key concept you'll want to get familiar with is MVC, or Model View Controller Architecture. It's like the organizational system that keeps your code clean and organized. A book that really helped me grasp these concepts was Clean Architecture by Robert C. Martin. And to really solidify your understanding, try designing a basic app architecture diagram yourself. Think about how the different components will interact, how the data will flow. All right, now that we have a solid foundation, let's start building the part of the app users actually see. This is where things get visual. Front-end development is all about creating the user interface, the part of the app that users interact with directly. Think about those sleek animations, those intuitive buttons, that satisfying swipe to refresh gesture. That's all front-end. To bring these experiences to life, you'll be working with frameworks like React Native or Flutter. These are like powerful tool sets that help you build beautiful and responsive user interfaces. And because they let you code once and deploy on both iOS and Android, you're effectively doubling your reach with the same amount of effort. Now, to master these frameworks, you need a solid grasp of the core languages of the web: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Don't worry, there are tons of free resources out there like Free Code Camp that can take you from zero to hero. A book I highly recommend is Learning React Native by Bonnie Eisenman. But like with anything else, the best way to learn is to build. Try creating a simple UI for a weather app. All right, now that we've got our front end looking sharp, let's move on to the brains of the operation: the back end. The back end is the engine room of your app, working behind the scenes to process data, handle logic, and communicate with the front end. This is where you'll be working with tools like Node.js, Django, or Firebase to build APIs and manage databases. Think of APIs as messengers that allow different parts of your app to talk to each other. You need to understand how to build them securely and efficiently, using best practices like RESTful API design. And then there's the database, the heart of your app where all the data is stored. You'll need to choose the right database for your needs, whether it's a relational database like PostgreSQL or a NoSQL database like MongoDB, and learn how to interact with it securely. A book that I found incredibly helpful for mastering backend concepts is Node.js Design Patterns by Mario Casciaro. To put your skills to the test, try developing a backend for a simple blog application. Build APIs to handle things like creating posts, fetching comments, and user authentication. Remember, the backend is all about building a solid foundation for your app. All right, let's move on to collaboration and version control. Whether you're working on a team or flying solo, version control is a must-have skill for any developer. It's like having an undo button for your entire codebase, allowing you to track changes, revert to previous versions, and collaborate seamlessly with others. Git is the industry standard tool for version control, and platforms like GitHub have become essential for hosting code repositories and collaborating on projects. You'll need to learn the essential Git commands like push, pull, commit, branch, and merge. Don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds. A great book for mastering Git is Pro-Git by Scott Chacon. The best way to really get comfortable with Git is to use it in practice. Find an open source project on GitHub that interests you and try contributing to it. You'll learn how to fork a repository, create branches, make changes, and submit pull requests. Okay, with version control under your belt, let's move on to ensuring your app is bug-free and ready for prime time. No one likes buggy apps. That's why testing and debugging are essential steps in the development process. It's all about catching and fixing errors before they reach your users, ensuring a smooth and enjoyable experience. Writing unit tests is a crucial skill for any developer. It's about testing individual units of your code in isolation to make sure they're working as expected. You'll also need to become familiar with debugging tools, which allow you to step through your code line by line, inspect variables, and identify the root cause of errors. A book that really changed my perspective on testing is Test-Driven Development by Kent Beck. It advocates for writing tests before you write code, which can lead to more robust and reliable software. For JavaScript development, Jest is an excellent testing framework that's easy to use and incredibly powerful. To put your skills to the test, try writing unit tests for a small app you've built. Then, intentionally introduce some bugs and use debugging tools to track them down and fix them. It's a satisfying feeling to squash those bugs and ship a polished product. All right, we're almost there. Let's talk about getting your app out into the world. This is it, the moment you've been waiting for. Launching your app to the App Store or Google Play. Deployment is the final step in the app development journey, and while it might seem daunting, it's actually more straightforward than you might think. You'll need to familiarize yourself with the specific guidelines and requirements of each platform. Apple, for instance, has strict App Store review guidelines that cover everything from app functionality to design and content. Google Play has its own set of policies and procedures, so it's important to do your research and make sure your app meets all the necessary criteria. Both platforms provide comprehensive documentation and resources to guide you through the process. Apple's developer website and Google Play Console are your go-to destinations for all things deployment. Before you hit that submit button, it's always a good idea to deploy your app to a test environment first. This allows you to catch any last-minute bugs and ensure everything is running smoothly. All right, you've done it. Your app is live and available for the world to download. The world of app development is constantly evolving. New technologies emerge, best practices change, and there's always something new to learn. To stay ahead of the curve, you need to embrace continuous learning as an integral part of your development journey. Make it a habit to read tech blogs, follow industry leaders on social media, and attend developer conferences whenever you can. Engaging with the developer community is a fantastic way to stay up to date on the latest trends, discover new tools and frameworks, and get inspired by what others are building. Don't be afraid to experiment with new technologies and push the boundaries of what's possible. The more you learn, the better equipped you'll be to tackle new challenges and build truly innovative apps. Remember, the journey of app development is an ongoing adventure. Thanks for sticking with me through this comprehensive roadmap to mastering app development. We've covered a ton of ground, from the fundamentals of programming to the intricacies of deployment and beyond. Remember, the most important thing is to keep building, keep experimenting, and never stop learning. The world needs your creativity and your unique perspective. So go out there, build something amazing, and who knows, maybe your app will be the next big thing. Until next time, keep coding.